And you all right there, Sam?
My back's hurting a bit. Good.
All right, mate. Andrew McCart, iFLTV, delighted to be joined by Mr. Sam Jones himself. Sam, how are you, sir?
Really good, thank you. How
You know
are you?
what? I'm very well. Listen, a Jack Catterall fight week, I like to see a little bit more of Sam Jones. I like to see Sam Jones, like at the press conferences getting involved, in the weigh-ins getting involved, at the media.
Steady one this week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the same without you during a fight week when you're not pissing somebody off.
Yeah, I think, like I say, it was a little bit disappointing that we couldn't get a press conference to launch the fight, if that makes sense. But I think we was up against the clock. But it would have been good to get Rick Milligan over here, who's a very good manager, talks a lot, very big talker, and it would have been good to have a bit of a back and forth with him. But it wasn't to be. We are where we are. Matchroom have done a great job, as they always do. And we're here, Arnold Barboza on Saturday for Jack Catterall for the interim World Championship.
Well, listen, I think it's going to be for the full. I think whoever wins this is going to get...
Me too, I think so as well, Andrew. That's the reason why I think I think you won't begrudge the winner of this fight being called world champion. Barboza's been number one for 2 years. Jack was number one for like 3 years in the WBO, got his chance, got robbed against your pal, which we won't go into.
Still there.
And he's on a great run of form, Jack. He's on a great run of form. And it's number one against number two on Saturday.
Listen, the Teofimo thing, though... obviously, the way he's talking on Twitter, and it's
bit of a lunatic, innit?
Yeah, it feels like he doesn't. It's not going to be. I feel like he's chasing the big fights, like a Crawford. Crawford wants Canelo. He wants Crawford. I feel like he's chasing those big paydays rather than wanting to become a two-way or a two-time undisputed or whatever it may
listen,
be.
I can't begrudge him for that. It's not. Listen, I would like to. I know Tio. I've spent a lot of time with Teofimo. He's a great fighter. He's not ducking Jack or ducking Barboza. He feels like he's done enough in his career where he can demand a big fight. I mean, his numbers won't say that because he's boxed in the Hulu, and just being honest, against Josh Taylor, it wasn't full in there. It wasn't full. And the Hulu's not Madison Square Garden. It's the small one out of there. So listen, I don't think he's done himself any harm signing with a 3-fight deal with Turkey, because Turkey will deliver him the big nights. I mean, he's got that thing in that Alcatraz. It's insane, that is, but people will tune in. It's crazy, isn't it? People will tune in. Hopefully, he'll fight the winner of this fight, which touchwood will be Jack Catterall on Saturday night.
Funny story, I was in Vegas in 21 when Josh became undisputed, and I was hanging about Jack. Me and Jack he came into my room to iron his clothes and whatnot before the Taylor fight, and he met Barboza, and Barboza said to him, I think that, we'll meet one day, or something along them lines, and it's crazy how now 3 years down the line that it probably is for the world title that these two, and they almost spoke it into existence when they met each other those 3 years ago, so it's a crazy sport, this game. Yeah,
listen, it is a completely crazy sport. I mean, Josh beat Ramirez, Barboza's just beating Ramirez, and Jack's now fighting Barboza. It's mad how it all works, but no, but yeah, he's making a comeback fighting Josh at welterweight. So good luck to him. I hope he does the business there, and who knows down the line they could meet again. Who knows? It could happen again. But right now, Jack's on his own path, and Josh will be on his own path. So yeah, all good.
Well, that's interesting. Then, can you see the trilogy with Jack and Josh?
Yeah, because there's always going to be that. I think they'll have an element of respect for each other because they've shared 24 rounds with each other. Do you know what I mean? So there's an element of respect there, but they're never going to be best friends. Do you know what I mean? They might do the Groves Frotch thing one day and do them tours.
Podcast.
Yeah, who knows? A podcast. That'll be interesting. But yeah, you can never say never to things, Andrew. If it makes business sense, then it will happen, won't it?
Definitely. Jack, though, I mean, the way he's talking in this fight, the way he's... especially that round table last week, I'm going to knock you out, you're a B-level fighter. Unless the Josh Taylor thing, Josh got him, riled each other up, that's where we heard it. But when somebody he seems to be predicting the outcome, and we haven't seen that yet. He always says by any means necessary, but now he seems to be confident enough to say, I'm knocking you out. Is that just because he's had them fights, the consistency with these fights?
Jack believes in himself, and like what I said there, the interview with Parsons there, the fight kind of is going to depend on how Barboza approaches it. Because if Barboza comes forward, like what he says he's going to do, and fight Jack, he's going to get knocked out. I actually really, truly believe that. But if not, and he tries to box Jack, it's going to be a 12-round decision, and Jack will play chess with him and beat him at chess.
We used to say this about Willie Lemon, God rest his soul, that he used to always hurt his opponents, but never seemed to get the finish.
Yeah.
Jack's almost like that.
There's an element of that. There's an element of that, but it's like, phones off, please.
My wife.
Answer it.
No.
Kelly.
Kelly, yes.
Shout out Kelly McCart. We've got it's with Jack. He hurt Prograde, didn't he? Bad, right, in the fight. Didn't quite finish. Then he hurt Josh in the 11th round. Hurt him in the first fight. Wobbled Linares, didn't he? Yeah. And you kind of think, if he just does a little bit more, he's stubborn. But Jack does what he needs to do in fights. So I think Jack's probably has looked at it and thought, you know what? I want to make a statement. But ultimately, and this is me being honest, all that matters is the W.
Definitely. Like I say, you're probably going to be world champion after this fight. The undercard, though, it's a couple of your other young fledglings coming through in Conor Tudsbury, Alfie Middlemiss.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about, we know you talk about fighter, right? But you said to me last week that if Conor Tudsbury touches you, you're out.
Conor
basically.
Tudsbury, listen, without me doing my normal
Hyperbolic statements.
Listen to me. I guarantee you this on Saturday. How about this? I guarantee you on Saturday, Conor Tudsbury will knock his opponent's spark out.
Is that guarantee?
I guarantee it.
Coffee? I mean, I believe you, but I kind of want to make. I want to see if you're that confident.
Conor Tudsbury can tap, Andrew. He can tap.
I'm looking forward to it because the size of his arms is like.
He's got a weird, freaky. I'm telling you now, if he hits that guy clean, he's falling onto the floor. If he gets up, that's good on him. But he's falling onto the floor. If Conor Tudsbury can punch,
Light heavyweight.
Yeah, light heavyweight.
Great division to be in for him.
But he's a fucking beast. So look out for Conor Tudsbury. And
Young Alfie, the actor.
Alfie Middlemiss on Waterloo Road. His dad was actually Des Barnes in Coronation Street. I mean, Parsons won't know that again because he's 12. But Eamon and yourself should know Des Barnes in Coronation Street. Very famous character.
Coronation Street fan, Ames?
Yeah. But yeah, Alfie's actually got a big part in Waterloo Road that's starting soon. So yeah, all the cast are coming on Saturday. But yeah, he's a very good actor, and he just loves fighting.
You know what? You've got a fabulous little stable, and it seems you're always beating Lee Eaton as well. What's going on there?
Yeah, I've had a few.
Lee's getting pissed off a little bit.
Yeah. I've had 3 fights against Lee and won 3. But listen, the Gavin Gwynn one, Lee weren't happy with. But like I said there,
he was winning the.
Scarf and the Harry Scarf one. I mean, listen, Harry Scarf was 10-0 up in that fight. He was 10-0 up, and then Conor Walker just pulled a bat out of his pants and chinned him. It was brilliant. But yeah, it's listen. Everybody knows I've got so much time for Lee. He's doing really well as well. He's done so well, Lee. He's flying.
Is that a wee sort of friendly competition between the two of you?
With Lee?
Yeah.
Genuinely, no.
No?
I don't see Lee as a competition because I kind of like... I know this... I don't... Say if like he was... I know he's working with Queensbury now, Lee, right? But say if he was looking at a fight and I was looking at a fight, go to Lee. Genuinely, that's how I feel with Lee. Because I know with Lee... Like, certain other people have like left Lee, right? I'm not going to name them. But they were...
please do.
They were moaning on social media about not getting opportunities and stuff. Well, that serves you right because you left one of the best people in boxing in Lee Eaton. Lee grafts for his fighters. He really does. He grafts very hard. You can see him. He's at one side of the country to another. Yeah. He's putting together shows now with Queensbury. Lee's a grafter. So if you sign with Lee Eaton, you've got a great manager there. So in answer to your question, genuinely, with the others maybe, but with Lee, I'm happy to lose out on a fighter to Lee Eaton.
No, that's nice. Yeah, listen, I've been around Lee for many, many years, and I know how hard he grafts. I mean, that guy is BoxRec. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't own BoxRec, but he can name you every
I say all the time, right? Everybody needs a Lee Eaton in your team, right? I know. I mean, Adi Oladipo referred to me as the best manager in the game, which he did. He did inflate my ego a little bit. I did enjoy that, but ultimately, there's certain things that Lee Eaton would do that's better than me. Do you understand what I mean? Like Lee's great. But listen, I'm giving Lee too much airtime.
Yeah, way too much.
Way too much airtime here, Lee. But no, Lee's great. Lee's great. So if you sign with Lee, or because I know he's working with Queensbury now, but you won't go wrong with Lee Eaton.
Definitely. Sam, I spoke to Dave Allen yesterday, and I spoke about the rematch, and he said a few things, and I'll quote them here. Is he basically said, if I was managing Johnny or training Johnny, I would not accept this immediate rematch with him. He also said that Johnny went to the well in that fight. He said, I've lived in the well. I don't mind going back there. And he almost questioned if Johnny's willing to go back to that well in a fight like that so quick after that fight with Dave Allen.
I'll be honest with you. I've had no contact really about the rematch. I've had a few like listings here and there, but ultimately it's up to Johnny. It's up to Johnny what he does next. But me personally, I think it's the only fight for Dave, and I think it's the only fight for Johnny. It's a controversial decision, but people have to understand one thing about Johnny, right? The expectation of him, because he sells so many tickets. Johnny's had to deal with a lot more pressure than a lot of other fighters because of the amount of tickets he sells. Do you understand, right? His dad's a TikTok sensation. They're famous. Do you know what I mean? They are famous people. I know, like, some people it's not their cup of tea, but ultimately they're famous, right? So Johnny's had to deal with a lot. But the expectations of Johnny was, can he win an English title? Can he win a Southern Area title? Tick. Can he win an English title? Who knows?
Can he headline?
Can he win? Can he headline? Can he do? So Johnny's gone into that fight against Dave Allen. Knowing what everyone thinks about Dave Allen, his experience. He was a good amateur. He's never really took boxing seriously. But that was Dave Allen's big night to kind of get his redemption. It was also a big test for Johnny. Now, Johnny for the first 4 rounds was... This is me being, again, like I've said to passing there, I've just got to be honest, right? First 4 rounds, easy to score. Very easy to score. 5th round, very easy to score. 10-8. 6-7. The 6th, yeah, but 6, 7, 8, 9, for me, Dave Allen won. The 10th, Johnny won. Dave Allen won by a point. It's not a beating. It's not a beating. For 4 rounds, Dave Allen was shipping a lot. Johnny was shipping a lot of punishment in 4 of the rounds, but a fight that's won by a point, which is what I believe it should have been scored to in Dave's favour, is not a one-sided fight, right? Johnny's inexperienced. So Johnny, if he goes back into that, will have took that experience on board, and you'd imagine Mark Tibbs, who's a great trainer, devise another game plan. It'll be great. Can Dave Allen improve? Can Johnny improve? It's a great fight. No matter what anybody thinks of the level of the fight, whether you think it's a fucking Southern Area... English title, doesn't matter what you think of it, it's going to sell thousands of tickets and people will watch the fight, right? So I hope, as a fan and as a friends I want to see the fight again. I want to see a fight. I think it's the only fight for both. I think if Johnny takes another fight, people will say, you're avoiding it. It's like it's not similar because Ben Whittaker's an Olympic silver medalist, but I'll use that as an example. People were giving Ben a lot of stick, right? Fair play to Ben Whittaker. He's going straight back in with Liam Cameron because people felt a certain way about that fight. Different circumstances to the endings on either fight, but ultimately, when the fans demand the fight and when the pursers reflect on that, usually the fight happens. I'm virtually certain. I would imagine the fight will happen next.
It's interesting. One quick one before I let a proper journalist, Ames over there, come in and do some proper talk with you.
Yeah.
The Chisora fight last week, and after the fight, he held up a 3-man hit list, and it was AJ.
The
Usyk,
final dance.
The final dance. Especially, yeah, exactly. So I was looking at it, I think there's no chance he's getting Usyk. I can't see that fight ever happening. Usyk's probably got maybe 2 fights left.
Yeah.
The Dubois fight, not going to happen because if he wins, or the Parker fight, then it's Bicoli if he wins because he's the final eliminator. No. However, the Joshua fight, I can see that fight.
Do you remember when I said...
you see it?
Do you remember when I said, when Dillian White was out of the fight, was the failed test, and I said, I tweeted, do you remember the tweet? It was viral, right? I said, put Derek in. And I got so much stick for that. Derek, he should be retired. Do you know if that fight happened now with Derek Chisora, no one would say anything with Anthony Joshua. No one would say anything. I don't personally think the fight will happen because I personally would like to see Derek go out on a high, right? Because I think AJ be the favourite in that fight, right? The big favourite, right? And I think the bookies and everyone would reflect that. I want to see Derek Chisora because I thought he was brilliant against Wallin, right? Great performance, a great way to end. But we know Derek's not ending on the 49th fight, right? I love Derek Chisora, right? I'd like to see him fight for someone like Francis Ngannou, whether it's going to be London or Africa. Have a big moment and then finish.
Get out.
Got loads of money in the account. Everybody loves Derek Chisora. He's a bit of a national treasure, isn't he? Go out and enjoy your families. He's got 2 young kids, married. Go and enjoy the fruits of your labour, Derek, because he's a legend.
Definitely. One final one. Sam, some sad news coming out today with Joe Gallagher.
Yeah.
What can you say about that? It's horrible, isn't it?
I said to Paz there before we started the interview, it puts a lot into perspective because ultimately, without health, you're nothing. And cancer has affected pretty much everybody. Everybody that you know, you'll know somebody in your dad. You will know somebody in your circle, whether it's your family or close friend. Cancer's affected everybody, right? It affected my granddad. It eventually killed my granddad. My granddad had prostate cancer, and my granddad was a very healthy man, right? He was mid-80s, but he was a very healthy guy. He used to get on his bike. He was a fit, strong guy, and because he ignored the symptoms, right? It spread a bit too much, and he lived another few years, but it eventually took his life because it was the diagnosis was too late, if that makes sense, to kind of keep it under control, because prostate cancer, you can keep it under control. But anyway, going back to that, health is all that matters in life. Health is all that matters. And when you have kids, like we've both got kids, but all you care about is your kids' health, and that's all that matters. So, Joe Gallagher, stage 4, isn't it? Stage 4 cancer. I wish Joe all the best in the biggest fight of his life. Georgia O'Connor as well, who's early 20s, right? Way too young. She's got a rare cancer that she's got the fight of her life on the case. She's actually coming on Saturday. I can't wait to see her. And she's got a GoFundMe page, by the way. I've just said on there. So if you can't afford to donate money, because listen, times are hard, share the page, share awareness.
I'll find the link and I'll put it in the description under this.
Please share the page and spread as much awareness as possible to give Georgia, because it will help. All the money helps towards treatments and her upkeep, everything. So, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, health is all that matters. Health is all that matters. And if you have any symptoms of anything, don't delay getting yourself checked out. Don't be embarrassed. Go and get yourself checked out, because it can ultimately save your life.
Definitely, and I echo that as well. Like you say, it's affected everybody in some way, shape,
Horrible
or form.
fucking disease, cancer.
Definitely. And with Sam, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to this amazing room that you've been given. I must admit. But
thank you, Kimpton Clock Tower. Thank you, Frank Smith.
Now get wee photo, Sam. There you go. It's for the socials, you know. No, it's just for my socials, though. No, it's not for the thumbnail. It's not the thumbnail. Right, Sam.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you, bro.